Alright, so here's another application of the conservation of angular momentum. But here, this problem is a little more involved. There are more things going on. So first of all, you notice that there is no pivot now. Nothing's pivoted. The rod is free to rotate. Okay, so initially the rod is at rest, and assume that this is all happening. The rod's lying on a horizontal surface. This is an aerial view. Okay, and there is a body of mass m that's moving with speed v. It's going to collide and get stuck to one end of the rod. And then what's going to happen, the motion after this is going to be more involved than the previous problem. Okay, it's going to spin about some center of mass that we need to figure out, and it's also the center of mass is also going to translate. It's going to move to the right. Now, if you understand what's going on here, okay, what we need to realize is that it's not going to spin about the center of mass of the rod, not anymore, okay, and it's not spinning about any pivot because there is no pivots. So we need to first figure out where the center of mass is, and in this case, the center of mass, if we know is going to end up being right in between here. So the center of mass is a point here. Let me show it with red. Okay, so this is going to be the center of mass after it gets stuck here. Okay, and that center of mass is going to be a distance of a quarter L from here, and it is also going to be equal to a quarter L from here. Now all this will be important for the first part of the question, okay, but let's do this. Let's answer the second part of the question first. The question is, with what velocity does the center of mass travel after the collision? Okay, and we need to keep in mind is because it's a head-on collision, the center of mass right after the collision is going to keep moving to the right, and we can figure out that velocity by using pi equals pf. So in this case, we can use pi equals pf because there are no external forces. All the forces are internal to the system. So I'm going to answer question 2 first. So use pi equals pf. Okay, and the reason I can use this is because there is no pivots. Okay, so please make sure that you understand that concept. Okay, no pivots. Since there are no pivots, which means no f externals. Okay, so in the beginning, the momentum is simply mv for the putty plus 0 for the rod, and at the end they're going to get stuck together, so they're going to move as one unit. So it is going to be 2m times v final, and this gives us v final as simply 1/2 times v initial, which we know. Okay, now we need to now figure to answer part 1. There are a couple things that we need. First of all, we need to know the moment of inertia of the rod after the collision. Okay, and we can calculate that very easily because the moment of inertia of the rod is we need to find that about the new center of mass. So if I have a rod of mass m, okay, and length L, we need to first figure out what the moment of inertia is about this new center of mass, new pivot point, okay, for the rod itself, because the rod's going to be spinning about this point now. And to calculate this, we can do one of two things. We can either just do a full calculation by doing the integrals, which try it out, do it, or we could use the parallel axis theorem. Okay, so we're going to use the parallel axis theorem, okay, which states that the moment of inertia about an axis is parallel with the moment of inertia about a known axis, okay, is going to be equal to the moment of inertia about the center of mass, axis through the center of mass, plus the m times whatever the distance is from the center of mass squared. Okay, so in this case, we know the moment of inertia about the center of mass for a rod, which is 1/12 m times L squared. Okay, once again, if you do not remember this, calculate it. Plus, we know how far it is from the center of mass, so it is L over 4, the whole square. And we can add this all up. We get 1/12 plus 1/16 times m times L squared. Okay, and this ends up becoming, the common denominator is 48, and I get 4 plus 3 ml squared, which is 7 over 48 ml squared. Okay, so we know the moment of inertia. This is all for the rod, okay, about this new center of gravity, center of mass for the rod. Now, the initial angular momentum again has to be found about the center of mass. So now when we do Li equals Lf, remember everything has to be calculated from the new center of mass. Okay, so in the beginning, the moment of inertia is going to be mv times the perpendicular distance, which happens to be L over 4, plus 0 for the rod because it's not really doing anything. And then at the end, we have the total angular momentum of the rod, which is 7 over 48 ml square, plus the moment of inertia for the putty, which is m times L over 4 the whole square, and we multiply this by omega f. And so this gives us omega f. So omega f is equal to, we got to calculate, of course, all this, which will be mv L divided by 4 divided by 7/48 plus 1/16. So it will be 7 over 48 plus 1 over 16 times ml square, and this is nothing. This basically simplifies to what, 48. You get 7 plus 3, so it's 10 over 48. So what we have is the masses cancel out, the L's cancel, one of the L's cancel out, so you have V over 4L times 48 over 10, and this ends up being equal to, didn't make any silly mistakes here, it'll be 6 over 5 V divided by L for the angular velocity right after the collision. Okay, now we can find the amount of energy lost in the collision also, so that could be part 3 delta KE, energy loss. Okay, and that would be equal to the KE final, and in the end it has, now remember, translational as well as rotational motion, so it will be equal to 1/2 times 2m times the V we found to be V over 2 1 over 2 times V square, which is the final speed. What is going on? Plus 1/2 times I, and the I for the entire system is 10 over 48 ml square times 6 over 5 V over L the whole square minus 1/2 times m times V square. And good luck to calculating this, simplifying this and all that. I'm sure you'll enjoy this. Alright, so that is it for now.